Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
We had to have another doctor come in from a different hospital to properly diagnose him. It's so sad.
A Fargo man is calling out a long-term care facility in Fargo, saying he received terrible treatment.
On top of that, his story has been shared hundreds of times on social media. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer dives into this case, and a warning, some images in the story may be disturbing to some viewers.
It was horrible there. I don't even understand how they're able to run. The doctors didn't care about me in the slightest.
Josh Trichler was in a car crash last November, and he admits it happened after he led police on a high-speed chase in western North Dakota. That's when he broke his neck.
On my back, it's like it varies from day to day. Sometimes I can feel the way down my back. Sometimes I can't.
He was initially treated in Bismarck and then brought to Vibra in Fargo a couple months later. He's been there since just last week, when he says he wasn't checked on enough by the staff.
He was going to lift me up on a bed, and my bandage came off of my back. And she's like, "What's that smell?" And smell like rotting flesh, basically. And looked over, and yeah, my bed sores were horrible.
The she Josh is talking about is his friend, Jocelyn Pierce. She tells us she's actually studying to be a nurse.
Before I ever saw it, I could smell it, and I asked Josh if he could smell it. And then when that nurse came in and covered her face, I was like, to have that kind of reaction, I was just like, but you're his nurse? You've been his nurse since 7 a.m.
That's when Jocelyn went to social media to share what she saw. The pictures have since been shared hundreds of times. And now Josh is at a different Fargo hospital.
Call light here actually worked.
And he says since getting transported, he has had no problem with the care he's getting there. We reached out to Vibra's CEO, and he tells us he is aware of the social media post and the reactions to it, but is unable to comment due to privacy laws. But he can tell us they have had no issues and have an exceptional wound care program. And for Josh, because of the crash, he needs long-term care. He says his sores are healing, and he's hoping to be out of the hospital soon. In Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
To the Vibra CEO's point, federal law says healthcare providers must assure that individuals' health information is properly protected while allowing the flow of health information needed to provide and promote high-quality healthcare. And remember, you can call our whistleblower hotline if you need help with a serious issue in your community. 237-6576. You can call and leave your tip, and then we will do our best to get to the bottom of it.
I've seen the autopsy. There's no question that the cause of death was a broken neck. There's no question that Warren didn't have a broken neck when he was taken into custody.
This dash cam video shows 72-year-old Warren Lindvold being arrested on suspicion of DUI. He would later be found paralyzed in his jail cell, and a few days after that, he was dead. The arresting officers, jail personnel, and their bosses say there's no evidence that they are responsible. Hours after being stopped by police, Lindvold was found on the floor of his jail cell, paralyzed, and emergency surgery couldn't save his life. In the dash cam footage of Lindvold's arrest, you can see that the officer pins his arms back behind his back. You can also hear Lindvold cry out in pain and talk about his medical condition, which leads him unable to turn his head because his spine is fused. At the police station, you can see officers drag Lindvold, leading an attorney for his family to blame the officers and others for his death. But the attorney for Valley City says the officers didn't do anything wrong.
The preliminary autopsy shows that the cause of death was cervical fracture. From watching the video, likely caused by the physical force applied to Mr. Lindvold by the officers.
There certainly is no internal affairs investigation taking place because there's no officer misconduct. I've reviewed everything that we have, the video, the police reports. There's no evidence whatsoever that any injury was caused to Mr. Lindvold when he left the custody of Valley City Police Department. He was walking.
We reached out to the Barnes County State's Attorney, who said in a statement at this time there is no evidence that Mr. Lindvold suffered any injuries at the jail.
A light jacket is needed if you are taking the dog for one last walk this evening. Hutch, how about a warm-up for tomorrow?
Okay, back to you. No, yeah, well, a little more detail than that. We do have a few clouds still lingering across portions of Minnesota, but temperatures today were significantly cooler, only in the low 60s. And as we head through the early overnight hours, we're going to see temperatures slip quickly into the 40s, low 40s for some. Only about 10 degrees from freezing tonight in Roseau. But it does look like a warming trend returns very quickly, Andrea, so some good news for those summer lovers. I'll have details on how hot we get, and we'll talk about our next chance of thunderstorms here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. And make sure you can get the forecast when you need it with the latest version of the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app. You'll get your forecast as well as weather alerts on the go to help you plan your day and keep your family safe. Download the latest version for free so you don't miss important alerts. Just search VNL Weather in your app store.
A 911 related outage in our area has been resolved. Officials in Fargo say the backup system did its job. The outage started this afternoon and extended from Fargo to Grand Forks as well as the Twin Cities. Many emergency agencies reported that service was back on about an hour later. At Red River Regional Dispatch Center, all calls made to 911 during the rare outage were automatically rerouted to the non-emergency line.
We've had maybe some cuts for maybe a small town where some people will lose 911 service, but as far as our entire dispatch center losing 911 service, that I don't recall a time in my 30 years where that's ever happened.
Filippi adds that no emergency calls were missed at Red River Regional Dispatch during the outage. While the exact cause has not been determined, the problem was linked to CenturyLink.
A North Dakota woman is facing up to 10 years in prison and more than $20,000 in fines if found guilty of charges related to fake adoption proceedings of Native American children. 47-year-old Betty Jo Kranz of Woodworth, North Dakota, turned herself in after an arrest warrant was issued in April. She's accused of staging adoptions, taking money from families, and never producing a baby for those wanting to provide foster care. Kranz is facing charges of theft of property and unauthorized use of personal identifying information. Her bail has been set at $10,000.
A Fargo woman says she's devastated and also adds 2 people wearing hoods forced their way into her car that was parked in her driveway, making off with her wallet.
Valley News Team's Joseph Ojo shares her story about how the incident has her on edge, worried that she might become a target again.
Formerly a resident of Florida, Vadaline Jack knows all too well about crime in a big city. And just when she thought she may have escaped car thefts by living in a nice neighborhood in Fargo, she was surprised after her car was broken into and her wallet was taken. Mother to 3 kids, the youngest just 9 months old, Vadaline Jack kept her wallet in her car because she was going to buy her child some medication.
My car seems unusual. I found the door open and there was a check inside of my purse. And I found the check on the top of the cup holders.
But that evening, 2 individuals used some sort of tool to force their way into her vehicle and snatch her wallet. She believes the crooks may have tried to get into her neighbors' cars as well.
Because I have all my identification in my wallet and I have to go overseas here in 2 weeks.
Jack, along with her husband, quickly reviewed the home surveillance camera. And to their surprise, 2 individuals made their way into Jack's car at around 1 a.m. The incident is now making Jack not feel welcome in her community anymore and extremely concerned for the safety of her children.
I wake up in the middle of the night to get to work. So what if I was there? What could happen to me? The only action I could take is me moving from here.
In Fargo, Joseph Ojo, Valley News Live.
Jacques did call police to make a claim. She's hoping the thieves see her story and return her wallet, adding she needs her cards to pay for important things in her kids' lives.
A little later on Valley News Live at 10, how depression in a parent could affect their kids.
Up next, a mobile wallet on your smartphone makes it easy to pay for your purchases, but it also comes with some risks.